Now, before we strain this and start playing with it a little further, we're going to switch to our cranberries. Has anyone in here tried to make cranberry sauce or tried to make cranberry relish and had it not turn out to be really runny and really watery?
Bitter.
Bitter? Add more sugar. Did you use fresh cranberries?
Yes.
Did they burst?
Yes.
Really? Too much water? You can simmer it a little longer. There is no right or wrong time limit on cooking these. Once they burst, they begin to thicken. However, if the sauce is not thick enough, continue to simmer it, continue to boil it, or refrigerate it, okay? Once it cools down, it will thicken some. Or add sugar to it, okay? Sugar is how you make jams and jellies. It's also how you can thicken things. If you add the sugar to it, it'll turn to a syrup. The more syrup it gets in it, the more water comes out, and the thicker you can make them, okay? So we're going to start by getting that pot hot. And basically, we're going to add everything we have in our pot, bring it up to a boil, and we're going to simmer it. My most favorite thing that's in the shape of a fruit is craisins, okay? They are cranberries that are turned into raisins. They're just cranberries that are dehydrated, all the moisture taken out of them. They show up nowadays on a lot of menus, a lot of different salads. They look just like raisins. They even have a similar taste, okay? They have a sweetness to them. They do have a tartness as well, but they're nowhere near as tart as a fresh cranberry. If you bit into a fresh cranberry, your cheeks are going to suck right into your face, and you're going to be like, why did I just do that? Whereas this has a very, very pleasant taste, very pleasant flavor. We're going to add, I am doubling this recipe for anybody who's going to tell me I put too much in here. I said I am doubling this, okay? It's 12 ounces instead of 6, okay? We're going to put our craisins in. Fresh cranberries or frozen cranberries, as long as they are not cooked, are fine, okay? Fresh cranberries are very hard to find, frozen ones, all year long, okay? Mandarin oranges. Now, this gets liquid in it anyway, okay? We're going to add this whole thing. This can is 11 ounces, okay? And I know that about 3 ounces of that is going to be liquid. So when we add our liquids to that, we're just going to subtract that off, okay? And I'm using mandarin oranges today just for simplicity. I've been using orange segments lately, and I just want you to see, it doesn't make that much of a difference if you're using the mandarin oranges. The other thing is these are in syrup or in sauce, okay? And since we're trying to get bitter, sour cranberry sweeter, all the extra sugar and the extra syrup we can put in it helps, okay? So there's 2 of those. Now for our orange juice, it's 6 ounces per recipe. And since we use the syrup from the mandarin oranges, we're only going to put about half of this jar in there. And then we'll keep it, and if we have to adjust with it later, we can. For our cranberry juice, we need about 12 ounces. And basically what you're trying to do with your liquid is to get it to where it just covers over your berries. You don't want them swimming in it, but you want them to be able to float and stir around. Now with your craisins, because they're a dried product, you're basically trying to rehydrate them and trying to get moisture back in them. Actually, we're going to stick with about 8 ounces of cranberry right at the moment. And as you rehydrate them, they're going to pull some of that moisture out of there as well. The more moisture they can pull out, the thicker it will become, the faster it will become thick. With cranberries, if you're using fresh cranberries, you have to make sure they burst, right? If they don't burst, it'll never, ever, ever get thick. All right, we have our craisins, our cranberries, our mandarin oranges, our orange juice, and our cranberry juice. We're going to add 1 cinnamon stick, 4 ounces of sugar, about 2 ounces of brown sugar, because, well, it can't be too sweet. We don't actually, yes, it was. We'll stir that around just to dissolve it. I'm going to put you in the back so you can't hear me. And with your sugars, you can adjust them as they're cooking. They dissolve very quickly in hot liquids as well as cold. Now, where did he put my grater? We have, the last thing to do with this is orange zest. Now, I've shown everyone how to do it with a grater. Everybody knows, use the small side of the grater, you rub it real smooth, make it real even. Tonight, I'll show you a little bit different way, and I've shown this once before, but it's tricky. What you're doing, or what you're looking for when you're zesting fruit, is you want to shave it as close to the skin as you possibly can. And you want to make sure that there's little to no white on the outside. And if there is, you basically want to re-fillet through the center and take all that white out that you can, so that you just have pure orange, okay? The white is the most bitter part of your orange, and you want that orange flavor and that orange cleanliness or that taste, but you don't want the bitterness of it. So as much of the white as you can pull out, the better. We don't need a whole lot of it when we're doing it this way. You get a lot more flavor from this than you do from using the peeler or the grater or a zester. Just because you're actually getting the entire thing from the orange or from the outside of the skin to the white, whereas with the zester you tend to only get the very outside part. And if you practice this and you do it once or twice, you can get it to where you can shave it completely down without taking any of the white off. It is a little more time consuming, but it doesn't take quite as much, like I said. And you can get it done relatively quickly. Now once we get that down, take this last little bit of white out of here. And again, you have to kind of trust yourself with a knife to get that close. We're just going to chop this up. We'll chop it across, and then we'll go back and we'll chop it again. So basically we just chopped it all into a bunch of little strips, and then we'll go back across those little strips, and we'll just dice it up real fine. Now this is zest, and we did take the white off, so it won't be as bitter. But I promise you, if you leave a dime-sized piece in there and somebody bites into it, it's not going to be very enjoyable. Okay? So try and chop it as absolutely fine as you can. You could. But then I have to clean it up. So I'd rather just chop it real quick. We'll get that added in there. And it's a whole lot easier to clean this than it is all them little parts of that food processor. Okay? We'll get this and that so you can see it when you come back. And there's that oyster. You can see how that peeled open. With this is about to start boiling. It's almost hot. What's that? I'm going to make you eat one. No. We can get rid of this and this. Back to this. It's simmering, it's boiling actually pretty well. We'll cut it down a little bit. But our cranberries are still really whole and really firm. Just let them go. These cranberries, I can see as we're starting to talk, are starting to change shape a little bit, and they're starting to split and burst. The cranberries are to the point now where as soon as you touch them, they burst. Okay, and the skins start to split. So we can mix them a little bit less gently and kind of help them pop a little bit more. And that'll do two things. It'll help our sauce thicken, and it'll help give that cranberry bitter flavor into our liquids, which is what we're looking for. Now, one thing I recommend, please take out your cinnamon sticks. My grandfather will chew on them occasionally, but you can use regular cinnamon. Start in 1/8 teaspoon increments. Okay, if you're going to do regular cinnamon, You know how long it's been in your cabinet? I can guess probably at least 5 years. Seriously, how many people have cinnamon in here at least 5 years old? Okay? It weakens with age, just like every other herb and spice that you have. If you're going to use fresh and not sticks, if you're going to use powdered, start in 1/8 of a teaspoon increments. Add one, let it get to this point. Once it gets to this point, taste it, and then you can add a little bit more. You can't take cinnamon out, and you would have to add an incredible amount of liquid to this to try and counteract the cinnamon flavor if you get too much in it. So it's better to go less with it if you're going to go powder and then work your way out. The nice thing about using a cinnamon stick is that you could taste it right now, and if it wasn't ready, you could leave it in there overnight while it chilled, and it would still pull more cinnamon out. If you tasted it 15 minutes ago and it was too strong, we could take it out instantly. Okay? With one, it should balance pretty well with everything else we have working. Now, because I'm pouring this into a glass bowl, I'm going to do it really slowly. It is microwave safe and it is heat safe. Most of your glass bowls you have at home that have been around a day or two aren't. And if you pour something that's straight boiling liquid into them, especially if your house is cold, if it's a cold winter day, you're going to pop the bowl. It'll end up cracking or breaking or shattering all over you. So if you're going to do it, make sure you pour a little bit in at a time. Let that bowl warm up a tiny bit, or warm your bowl up. Okay? Put it under warm water, something to just kind of take the chill off of it, and it will help keep your bowls from blowing up. Okay? Now, as you cool this down, again, it will get thicker, but as you take the spoon out, you can see it just starts to coat the bottom of your spoon. That's a pretty good indication that when you cool it down, it'll thicken up. Now, I put that cranberry last. Does anybody want to guess why? Because the first thing I would do with it is pour it over my stuffing. Okay? Over your stuffing, over your turkey, over your mashed potatoes, over whatever you can think of. Yes, just cover it over your turkey. Okay? You could actually just spread it on a roll and put your turkey on it the next day.